Okay. Ethan, you just got a request to be in the live. It should pop up there. There we go. Hey, man.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. All good. All good.
Awesome. How you doing?
I'm good. You?
Good, good, thanks.
Keeping busy?
Yeah, we've been busy. Been busy. We actually played a round of golf with one of my old teammates, Andrew Cost, today, so that was a lot of fun.
Good day or no?
Yeah, it was really nice out. It was really nice outside.
Did you have a good day too, score-wise?
Oh, I don't play a lot anymore, so I was just hacking around, but yeah, no, it was a good day. Really fun. It was a lot of fun.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, let's get right into your introduction. So for those of you that don't know, this is Ethan Ellison. Ethan played at Laval for the last 5 years, and you started playing with the club when you were 13, you correct?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's right.
So just a brief background. Ethan, you guys won provincials when you were 13, you?
Nope.
No?
Oh, no, we didn't. 15 was our first provincials.
15 year. Okay. So, and
Yeah.
then your 14 year, you had actually torn your ACL.
Yeah.
So I want to get into that a little bit.
Yeah.
Then your 15 year, you guys won provincials as well as nationals.
Provincial nationals, yeah.
You and I'm not sure who you played with, but you came second at beach provincials, correct?
15U. Did I come second? I don't remember. I trust you.
I think it was second with Shawnick, I believe.
Second. Yeah. I think it was second with Zach, actually, 15U.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
And then that summer, you and Andrew Koss actually played up 16U and won an OSG bronze.
Ontario Summer Games,
right?
Yeah.
You guys won provincials and nationals again in 16U?
I think we got a bronze at provincials, but we won nationals, yeah.
Really? Okay. And then third at nationals for beach and second at provincials for beach your 16U year?
That sounds about right, yeah.
And then 17 year provincial champs and then second at nationals?
Yeah.
And your 18 year we're going to come back to later. I want to kind of touch on that.
All right.
Specific.
Okay.
And then just getting on your university career, your first year you were all-Canadian rookie team, third year a first all-team all-star, fourth year first all-team all-star, and then this past season second team all-star.
Yeah.
And then you guys would have won the league in 2016, 17, 19, correct?
I think so, yes.
Okay. So I want to get into, let's start with your kind of like your ACL tear. I kind of want to speak to that because not like it's a common injury, right? But it's not something you really see a lot in younger athletes. So
no, so at the time I was playing basketball and volleyball at the same time. And that injury was actually from a basketball injury. So I was going out for a layup and then I just landed funny and I tore my ACL. But my initial diagnosis wasn't a torn ACL. It was kind of, they didn't really see the ACL in the diagnosis. So I kept playing on it, playing basketball and volleyball. And then I kept injuring my knee. And then eventually they figured out it was a torn ACL. So I tore my ACL when I was 13. And so that injury basically took me out the whole season for the second half of that year.
Right.
And then for my 14U season, I started a bit late and I played for T West. So I started like half the season. I played half the season with like a knee brace, yeah.
And how was that recovery like?
It wasn't that bad, I was pretty young, so when you're that young, you kind of can recover a little faster than you can now, than I could now. So it took about 6 months, and then I started playing after 6 months after the injury. So I was playing on a brace, and then I was able to take the brace off after about a year.
Right.
So a good year recovery to get back to 100%.
Okay, that's not bad then, I guess. Yeah, you're younger. I guess you heal quicker, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And
by that age, I was pretty much like fully grown. So they were kind of hesitant to operate, but they did it anyway. So.
Right. And I guess nothing. I guess there's no problems there now, I assume.
No, my knee has been good for ever since. It's been good. I've had a couple other injuries everywhere else, but my knee's been good.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. So I want to talk about your 18U year. I think your team's 18U year is a little underrated.
Well, it was up and down.
Yeah, it was up and
Also.
down, but I believe,
Yeah.
I think the talent that you guys had is quite evident. So you guys
Oh, we're
obviously
super. Yeah.
you guys came second at provincials, right? Where you
Yeah.
guys lost to the 17U team.
Yeah.
We'll get into nationals in a bit, but then you guys also won Penn State and Chicago, right?
Yeah. That was awesome.
And I think you guys are the only team to ever do that, aside from that Crush team a couple of years ago.
I think so. Maybe I'm not really sure, but yeah.
So when I spoke to Shawnee today, and he was telling me that you guys beat a Mexican team called Baja, right? And they were I think what is it, an all-star team from Mexico or something?
Well, they were just a Mexican team. Yeah, the team from Mexico that they sent to Chicago to play tournament. So I'm assuming they're a pretty good team from down there.
Yeah. So what was that tournament like?
It was really long. That was kind of the big thing about that tournament. It was a 3-day tournament, and there were so many teams. And the arena that we played in was just massive. It was probably one of the biggest places we've played at ever as a team. So, but it was a lot of fun.
And then what was the atmosphere like playing that Mexican team? Was it?
Well, that was the team kind of we were like looking at all weekend. We were like, this is the team that we're gonna meet probably late in the tournament. And then when we ended up playing the semis, we're like, okay, now we gotta play our best. That was the game where we brought our best, and it showed because we won that game in 3 sets, like 15-13. So
Okay.
it's a crazy game.
And then I guess moving towards nationals. So obviously you guys had quite a few injuries there, right? Going into their 18 nationals, or you guys were kind of like beat up a little bit.
Well, it was a long season with those two U.S. tournaments, but we might have been injured. I don't really remember, but yeah, that was a tough one for us.
Yeah, I think obviously when you think of kind of like some of the best 18 teams of all time, your team gets kind of left out of that conversation, right? But
Oh, really?
just because when you look at like people will make the argument that you didn't win provincials or nationals, but when you look at what you guys accomplished when you guys were healthy, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, you know what? Thinking about it now, I'm pretty sure we did have a couple key injuries on our lineup, but yeah, I mean, we also didn't play our best at nationals. Far from it, too.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I guess moving into it, how did you first start playing volleyball?
So I started when I was about probably 11 or 12, grade 5. I started at Pac-Man Sunday League. I do that like at the same time I was playing basketball, probably every other Sunday, and then ever since those kind of summer day camps, I did those camps, the summer camps, and then I just loved it from then on in.
Right. And then what would you say? So obviously you spent a lot of time playing beach as well as indoor. What would be like your favorite memory from both of those?
Favorite memory out of I got some. We went to 16U Nationals was in Vancouver, was in BC.
Okay.
So that was really fun. Me, Shaunik, we went up with two other partner. We went up with 2 other teammates. Sahil and Pride, they were playing in the tournament too. Zach and Andrew Koss were also there. So that was a really fun tournament that out in Vancouver, which was really a really good time with all those guys.
For sure. And how about indoor?
Indoor, I have to say, it's a tough one. I have to say the Chicago tournament. That Chicago tournament was just for the balance of performance, how well we did, and being with the team on a U.S. road trip was a lot of fun.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's just nice to be with your teammates too, right? You're kind of with them all tournament, right? Because you're in a hotel.
Yeah, you're with them all tournament. You're grinding the games all day. You're going home. You're going back to the hotel room. You're eating together. Just hanging out. Yeah, it was really fun.
And then while you played at the club, did you train with Jeff at all?
I did. I did a lot of training with Jeff. So when I was kind of younger too, I was doing his tops, March break, and summer camps.
Okay.
And then also the Sunday morning setter practices.
Right.
Those were a lot of fun. That was a grind.
Yeah, those training sessions are awesome because they're just straight intensity, right, the whole time.
Yeah. Jeff is really great too.
What would you say is like one big takeaway for you from like your sessions with Jeff Chung?
Wow. One.
I know there's
probably,
a lot. I know there's a lot.
There's a lot. Yeah. There's a lot I took from Jeff. I'd say the footwork, getting off the net and getting on the net, and then traveling across the net.
Yeah.
That was a really big thing. That and the time, the tempos, jumping, not always setting at your highest peak, but jumping, landing a bit, and then trying to draw the middle in, and then shooting out to the left side or right side. Those were the 2 ones.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I want to move a little bit towards your kind of your university experience. I think the first thing is like obviously you don't see a lot of Ontario athletes, right? Unless they play in Ottawa, go to the RESQ, right?
Yeah, it's pretty rare.
So what like why Laval? Like what kind of drew you to that?
Well, so the summer of my, probably when I was 17, my grade 11 year, I did a summer program out at Laval. It was kind of like a program to experience kind of a first year university. You live on campus, you go to lectures and stuff. And I did that at Laval.
Right.
So I reached out to the coach there at the time. It was Pascal, and I reached out to, I knew they had a good team. So I asked them, were you interested? I put a video together. I said, this is my kind of my highlights, and then would you just be interested in doing a workout with me? And he said, yeah. And then so I did the workout with them. I was really raw. I just went there, did whatever he asked. It was kind of a really cool practice with a pretty well-known coach in Canada.
Right.
So I didn't think much of it, and then he was interested, and then it all went through from there.
And was French one of your first languages growing up, or was it something that you were just taking in school?
I was just taking French immersion in high school and like elementary school. So but the French part really never. So I was always comfortable speaking French, and I understood French. But then I knew going there was going to be a lot different.
For sure.
But I knew I would be able to do it. I kind of thought I'd be able to do it, and then it just turned out really well.
Right. And one thing I've asked everyone that I've had on so far, and it's varied, but how would you find your transition from going from club to university?
Oh, it's huge. It's a lot of fun, but it's a big difference. It's a big mindset shift towards club volleyball to university volleyball. You're a lot more accountable for everything you do not just on a volleyball court, but also in school and just your daily life. Like, you got to stay in shape, you got to be on top of school, and then also every day of practice you got to perform.
Right. Yeah. No, I can see that. So I guess I don't know if many people know, but obviously some athletes have to go to CEGEP, right, for 2 years.
Yeah, everybody. It's required in Quebec. You have to do 2 years of CEGEP and then you go to university.
Yeah. So what was it like? I guess because when you got there, you didn't have to go to CEGEP for a year, right?
No, I didn't have to. When I got there, my first year of university was just all CEGEP courses.
Right.
So which was a lot like my grade 12 year, just in French.
Because you're playing against some guys that are like a lot old, like 6 years older than you, right? Because some guys are there for 2 years,
yeah,
right? And then they go play. So how was that then? How was that transition?
Oh, that's really cool. So my rookie year, we had, I think, one senior, or a couple seniors actually, who were about like 24, 25 years old. Yeah. And it's just awesome to see how they practice, how they train, and how they balance, their whole life around varsity volleyball. And it's just, their expertise is just something that I use to grow as a student and as an athlete. So it's really helpful to have guys like that around.
It probably helps you mature a little bit more too, right? Just because you're with like basically a grown man.
Yeah, exactly. And then for me, I was like an 18-year-old kid there, right? So
exactly, yeah.
They treated me as a baby. They treated me like a baby there.
For sure, no, for sure. So I had actually reached out to your coach at Laval, Pascal.
Oh, really?
And
nice.
So here's what he had to say about you. He said that you were probably one of the best setters to distribute the quick offense within the 4 meters of the court with a lot of precision. And then he also highlighted that you had improved a lot in your defense, as well as being a great teammate.
Wow.
So how did you become so comfortable running the middle, like off the net, and what type of role does that play for your team?
Well, the middle off the net was something that I really liked doing also in club. So that was kind of a big thing on our team, on our Pac-Man team, just running a middle from as far as possible. So I translated that. I tried to take that with me to university, and they really loved that. So they pushed me to keep going, and I keep going at it. So that's kind of like one of my things that I like to do a lot, is forcing a middle set. So, but go ahead.
So what's like what do you look for then in your middle? Like, obviously you want to see that the middle's opening up, but do you find like you need to hear your middle say something? Like, how does?
Well, no, my thing is more he just has to be there and up and just expecting a set. That's kind of my thing. If I can see him, I can find him, and then I know that everybody, I have a good options at the pins too, right? So I try to see that he's there, and the middle on the other side is the middle block on the other side as well. If he lines up to him, then I know I should go elsewhere.
Right.
But if not, which is kind of most of the time, they're not there, so I can just flick it to him, and he's got a pretty easy kill.
Right. Okay. So my first time ever watching you was actually at 2019 Nationals. So when Nationals were held at Laval. And one
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was my first time.
Nice.
And so, like, that tournament, right? I think you had a great tournament. But one thing that I was really impressed with was your defense. And obviously, your coach highlighted that you improved with your defense over the years. What would you say was kind of like your mindset, to defend?
So yeah, my defense wasn't great at in my first couple of years, so it was always something I was focusing on during like my practices at Laval. I had to become a better defender.
Right.
So it was more like trying to figure out that if the ball comes to me, I have to dig it.
Right.
If I miss it, if it's a step away or a step right to the left, I'm okay with like trying to get a hand on it. But if the ball is in my pocket, I have to dig it. That was kind of my mindset.
Right.
And I have to dig it enough on our side so that our libero can run a good set to the pins, and then we can score.
For sure. And because I think one thing that's really underrated is defenders that play on the right tee, right? Because I mean, like left side's an outlet set, right? Obviously, at any level of volleyball you play, and like at the end of the day, the line is sometimes open, right? So, and you're not playing too far. So I mean, yeah, it's pretty close, right?
Yeah, exactly. So because if my first contact is good for the libero, I know that he has a lot of options and he can try to fool the middle blocker too.
For sure. So going back to kind of like your club experience, and then I want to just jump back to your time at Laval. So for club, would you say like your team had any like rivals per se?
Yeah, I'd say our biggest rival was Forest City, and then probably LVC after when they kind of switched to LVC Fire. But yeah, those were I'd say that team was our biggest rival. Our biggest rivalry.
What were those games like?
Oh, they were awesome games. They were pretty much like they matched up to us really well. They also had a really good setter, right, and a great right side, and a couple good middles, good left side. So they were pretty like pound for pound. They were kind of a similar team to us. Right. So that's why the matchups was always good. So the games were always really intense. They always went down to the third set, and yeah. We played them in probably every year in semis or finals.
Right. And so in that 18 year, did you guys play them in the semis to move on? We
got them in the semis to move on to the finals, yeah.
And what was that game like, I guess? Because I think it's a lot more pressure, right? Especially it being like your last year, right, at clubs.
Yeah, so we really played up. We managed to beat them in 2 sets, and we played a really good game against them. So it was we really needed that to get into the 18 provincial finals. It was a really fun game. Yeah.
Right. So moving back to your time at Laval. So you guys went to nationals 3 years, and then obviously this year got canceled. But so 2016 you guys came 5th. 2017 you came 5th, and then 2018 you guys didn't qualify. So I want to talk about kind of that run that you guys had when Laval actually hosted the event, right? Because you guys were able to come 3rd there at home. What was that like? How did that feel?
Oh, that was crazy. So our first game when we stepped onto the court, we had our home crowd with us, and it was just instant energy. Like, you know how when you step onto the court, you kind of have to get warm, you got to stretch out a bit, run around, do the pack and warm up.
Yeah.
But that game, I felt like I could play that game right away as soon as I stepped out of the tunnel, just because of all the instant energy we felt from the crowd. It was unreal.
And so that first game, you guys beat Queens in 5, right? It was?
Yeah.
And so I
guess we beat Queens in 5.
Energy there was probably just probably huge, right? Especially it being, because I think that was the first game of the tournament too, wasn't it?
That was the first game. No, it was the last game of the tournament of the Friday. Yeah. So yeah, our stadium was pretty much, it was packed. Every time Queens went back, the Queens players would go back to serve. You had all the guys at the rafters trying to scream at them, trying to just yelling random stuff at them, trying to miss their serve. It was crazy.
And it
was a really good game.
It must have felt nice too, because they were obviously the OUA champions that year as well, right?
Oh yeah, it was a really good win. They were really good. They were a really good team that year.
And then I guess moving on to your semifinals, you guys played Trinity Western, right? Who eventually went on to win.
Yep, we played
the whole
Trinity.
thing, and you guys took them to 5.
We
So what
did.
was that like?
That was a really tough game, especially just for the whole team, but especially for me because those guys are really big, and sometimes you kind of just you figure out you kind of don't have really anything to do anymore. Like you're not coming in the middle because they're so tall, so they don't need to.
Yeah.
So you got to try to find different ways to try to get your hitters open and try to kind of get a smaller block maybe, get them to jump, get them to keep them guessing. Keeping those guys guessing is really hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially given that they had 2 really good middles too, right?
Yeah, they had probably really good players at every position. They had huge serves. That was a really tough game.
Yeah. And then I guess the bronze medal game, right? Obviously, it was disappointing that you guys obviously couldn't win the semifinals at home, right? And make it.
Yeah, that was tough.
But then you guys ended up beating Alberta for the bronze medal. So what was the energy like that game after like a loss?
At the beginning of the game, we were all pretty dead. We just played 2 5-set matches on the 2 days before, so it was a pretty tough wake up in the morning. But once we got going on the court, we were feeling good. And then in the 4th set, it was really tough. I think we were about to lose the set in the 4th, and then we kind of just told ourselves we have to find some energy to not take this to a 5th set. We knew it was going to be really hard to play another 5th set match. Yeah. So we kind of pulled off a little comeback to win the 4th set and get that bronze. It was a really good feeling.
It must have been nice too, because I guess all your families were there too, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, my family came out. A lot of the players' families were all there. Yeah, it was a really cool environment to play in.
For sure.
Probably one of the best I've ever played in my entire career. It was amazing.
And then would you say, obviously, I'm sure like more people came to watch, right? Compared to like your regular season games, but
oh yeah.
I'm sure the support was probably like, even I guess leading up to the championships, do you guys get noticed a lot on campus? Like, do people kind of say, hey, like I've seen you play?
Not really. We get a lot of attention, but we get a lot less than our football team does. So, I mean, we're pretty much I've never been recognized. I've actually been recognized probably by older people, not university students, if you know what I mean. Kind of walking around like cafes and stuff. People like, hey, you play volleyball, right? Like, yeah, good job last weekend, that kind of stuff. But not many students kind of recognize us.
So at Laval, do you find the community is really involved? Like people that live in the area, like they come support the
a lot. Oh yeah, they love the university teams. Yeah, our football team they pretty much fill up our parking lot tailgating.
Wow.
Just it's crazy.
So it's definitely nice thing because I guess when you guys host it too, it's not only do you have the support from just people at school, but also that community, right? Also,
the community's coming out. Yeah, all the old the ex-players who played at Laval were there. It was an awesome atmosphere.
Right. So I know you're done your 5 years of eligibility there, right?
Yeah, I'm done.
So I think if I recall correctly, a couple of years ago when I was at Beach, I think you were there with Jesse coaching. You were helping out for a couple of years.
Oh yeah, nice.
So like what would be some future goals? Do you see yourself like kind of staying connected to the volleyball community? Maybe like a coaching role or mentorship job, something?
You know what? I'm not really. I'm kind of fresh off finishing, so I haven't really decided yet. I know I still really love the game.
Yeah.
And I would love to just be involved in any way. But any plans for sure? No, not yet. But I'd be open to stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. That's cool. And then I guess the last thing is really, what would you give the younger athletes? Like, what would be some advice you'd give to them?
So for younger athletes going into like university, or
you know what, let's do both. Let's do going into university and maybe just picking up the game, or like kind of like in the middle of their club careers.
I say for athletes in their club careers, I'd say just enjoy it. It's some of the best memories you'll have. The volleyball memories are the best memories I have from my days in high school and elementary school. Like being part of a team is really fun, and just enjoy it. But for people who are going to university, I'd say it's a tough process. It's a long process in your first, second, third year. And I say just learn as much as you can. Coaches are all different. You're going to learn different styles, it's a lot faster. There's a lot more on your plate. So I'd say just learn, be patient, and just stick with it because it's worth it in the end.
For sure. And then I guess, you know what, I want to actually, what would be some advice you'd give to an athlete that maybe has gotten injured at a younger age?
Oh yeah, that's tough because at the beginning of an injury, you're really sad about not being able to play, sitting on the sidelines watching your team play. But I'd say just pull through it, do your physio, do your exercises, be diligent about that. Focus on your recovery so that when you do start playing, you're back to 100% or even 110% of what you were before your injury.
For sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. Thank you so much for coming on. That was amazing.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
And this is awesome. These little podcast things is really cool.
Yeah. It's
Good
nice.
job.
I think it's nice to just have the like all the talent that we've had in the club kind of be showcased, right? I think it's important.
Yeah, I love that.
So yeah.
And you're doing a great job.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on. Best of luck in the future. I'm sure we'll see
Yeah,
you
thanks for
soon.
having me. You too.
Yeah. Thanks.
See you soon.
See you, man. All right, guys. So we'll be posting on Monday just to let you know who's going to be on next week, Friday.